All right, today we're diving into a masterpiece of American literature, William Faulkner's Barn Burning. This is a tense, fiery story about a young boy who's caught between the father he's bound to protect and a truth that he just can't ignore. So let's get right into it.
Right from the get-go, Faulkner hits us with this massive question, one that gets right to the heart of the conflict. Loyalty to your family or loyalty to the truth? I mean, what do you do when sticking by your family means you have to betray your own sense of what's right and wrong? It's a tough one, and that's the terrible choice facing our main character, a little boy named Sardi.
Okay, Section 1, the old fierce pull. So picture this. The story kicks off in this makeshift courthouse. And Faulkner, he just paints this scene so well. It smells of cheese, of fear, and just despair. And right in the middle of it is this 10-year-old kid, Sardi, and he's trapped by something Faulkner calls the old fierce pull of blood.
So what exactly is this pull of blood? Well, it's not just, loving your family. Faulkner paints it as this primal, almost gravitational force. It's something that demands Sardi protect his father, Abner, even when he knows, deep down, that his dad is totally in the wrong. It's the kind of loyalty that feels like it's in your DNA, something you inherit, not something you choose.
And here are the two characters at the very center of that pull. You've got Colonel Sartoris Snopes, or Sardi, this small, grieving boy who's just being pulled in two different directions. And then you have his father, Abner. Wow, Faulkner's description of him is just chilling. He's stiff, he's ruthless, cut from tin, he says. Just imagine that, a flat, cold, almost inhuman figure who doesn't even cast a shadow. And this quote from Abner, man, it just sums up his entire worldview. You gotta learn to stick to your own blood, or you ain't gonna have any blood to stick to you. See, that's not advice, is it? That's a threat. For Abner, the world is simple. It's us versus them. The only law that matters is blood. Things like justice, truth, those are luxuries for other people, not for them.
All right, moving on to Section 2, peace, dignity, and despair. So, as you can imagine, the conflict just gets deeper from here. The Snopes family gets run out of town, and they end up at their new place, the Despain plantation. And just for a second, Sardi feels this little spark of hope.
He sees the Despain mansion for the first time, and he thinks to himself, it's big as a courthouse. Now think about that. For a kid who's only ever known run-down shacks and poverty, a courthouse, that represents order, justice, something solid. This huge house is a symbol of a completely different way of life.
Yeah, this mansion becomes everything Sardi is desperate for. It's a world of order. For the first time, maybe ever, he feels this sense of peace and joy. He truly believes that the people in a house like this must be safe from someone like his father. And he even dares to hope, maybe, just maybe, this place could be the thing that finally changes Abner. But Abner sees things very, very differently. His response to this beautiful symbol of peace is just immediate, calculated contempt. First, he deliberately walks right through a pile of horse manure. Then, when he gets to the door, he's told, hey, wipe your feet. Does he listen? Nope. He ignores the warning, walks right in, and then grinds his dirty boot deep into this beautiful, pale rug. It's a statement. And this quote, this really tells you everything about where Abner's rage comes from. Pretty and white, ain't it? That sweat, nigger sweat. Maybe he wants to mix some white sweat with it. He's not seeing a pretty house. He's seeing a symbol of everything he hates. A place built on the backs of others. Soiling that rug, that's his way of mixing his own sweat, his own life of struggle and defiance, into their clean, privileged world. Next up, Section 3, the price of a rug. Because an act of defiance like that, of course, it's going to have consequences. And this whole fight over the rug escalates fast, trapping Sardi right back in the middle of it all.
And boy, do things move quickly. On Wednesday, Major Despain, the owner, demands 20 bushels of corn for the ruined rug. By Saturday morning, they're in front of a justice of the peace who reduces the penalty to 10 bushels. But by that very evening, Abner is already preparing his revenge. The moment that judgment came down, his course was set.
So the final judgment is 10 bushels of corn. On the surface, it sounds like a compromise. The judge is trying to be fair. But for a guy like Abner Snopes, this isn't justice, it's a massive insult. It's the world pointing a finger at him, telling him he's wrong, that he's small. And for Abner, any judgment against him is an attack that has to be answered with his favorite weapon, fire.
Which brings us to Section 4, the inevitable fire.
For Abner, there's really only one way to deal with a world he feels has wronged him. We all know what's coming.
The whole family knows exactly what's about to happen. You hear it in Sardi's mother's voice. Lenny, she just cries out, "Abner, no, no, oh God, Abner!" It's this cry of just hopeless despair. You can tell this isn't the first time. They're just trapped, watching this horrible, destructive cycle play out all over again, and they can't do a thing to stop it.
You know, to really get Abner, you have to understand what fire means to him. It's not just about revenge. Faulkner calls it Abner's one weapon for the preservation of his twisted integrity. It's like a force of destructive purification. For him, burning a barn is his way of hitting the reset button, of imposing his own kind of justice on a world he thinks is completely unjust. And this is the absolute moment of truth for Sardi. His dad hands him the can of oil. He's supposed to be an accomplice. And he thinks to himself, I could run on and never look back, never need to see his face again. He could be free. Only, I can't. That old, fierce pull of blood is still there, holding him back. He just can't. Not yet.
And that brings us to the final part, Section 5, a son's final choice. Abner knows his son is about to break. He even tells his wife to hold Sardi back. But in this final, climactic moment, Sardi's conscience is finally stronger than the pull of blood. He was free. He breaks away from his mother's grip. And in that single instant, it's not just about being physically free. He's breaking the chains of that suffocating loyalty that has controlled his entire life. And he starts running. But he's not running away, into the darkness of the woods. He's running toward the lighted house. He's running toward the Despain mansion, toward the very symbol of the world his father wants to burn down. This is it. He's choosing justice over blood. He slams through the door, totally out of breath, and just manages to scream out the one word that can save them. Barn. That one word, it's his warning, it's his testimony, and it's his final, total rejection of his father's twisted code. Too late. As he runs away from the house, he sees it, what Faulkner calls the soundless roar of the fire. So bright, it just erases the stars. And then he hears it. 1, 2, 3 gunshots. And he knows. His warning sealed his father's fate. He calls out for him, "Pap, Pap," but there's just silence. So Sardi just keeps walking into the woods and he never looks back. He chose justice. He chose the truth. But in doing so, he lost his entire family. He's completely alone. And that's where Faulkner leaves us, with this really heavy question to chew on. Sardi chose justice, but lost his family. Was it worth the price?